Yo, welcome into another episode. It's Capturing the Game Within the Game podcast featuring me, your host, Desmond Jones, and my man's the one and only Jawan Polo Man Stewart. Today, I'm flying solo today, but that's okay. We still got a rocking episode coming right before you. But before we get into our guest right now, we let's go ahead and remind the audience that Capturing the Game is sponsored by Capture Sports Agency, where the CEO and founder is Shanta Smith Jones. Now that we got some of the introductions out the way, let's go ahead and talk about today's guest. Today's guest, I present to you the Director of Compliance at University of Texas, San Antonio. Her name is Tianna Hill. Tianna, how are you doing today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing good. See, once I got past the introductions, I was gonna be good.
You got it right. If you still hesitate throughout the interview, you can just call me T. It's fine.
Okay, see, that's crazy. So I thought about doing that, but it's like, so my wife's her nickname is T, so I was like, all right, maybe I could just call it T as well. So okay, cool. I may have to use that from time to time. So, but yeah, my goal for 2022 is not butcher anybody's names. So I feel like I'm perfect so far. So, well, Tianna, can you go ahead and tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
So I grew up in Birmingham, Alabama, in a small neighborhood called Inslee, with my mom, my dad, and my older sister, Tiffany. I was pretty active as a kid. I was always involved in sports. I think I started playing sports for the McAlpine Recreation Center around like 7 or 8. Middle school, I was involved in show choir. I was in a band. Couldn't really sing, but yeah, I was in show choir. I was in a band. Throughout the summer, I did summer science camps at UAB. I wanted to be like more involved in sports in the summer, but pretty much my mom was fixed on me exploring other things other than sports. But I'm grateful for that. Throughout high school, I played sports. I was in the marching band. I went on and started college at Lawson State Community College, which is in Birmingham, Alabama. I played volleyball and basketball there. It was about maybe 15, 20 minutes from my house. I could have commuted, but I decided to take full advantage of that scholarship and live on campus and just to get a real college experience, I guess. Graduated from Lawson State, went on to transfer to the University of Montevallo, which is a D2 institution in Alabama, and it's about 45 minutes from Birmingham, so still close to home. I played women's basketball there. My second year there, my dad had some health issues where I had to stop playing ball, but I was allowed the opportunity to continue to be the manager, the women's basketball manager, and I also interned with the compliance department at Montevallo, which opened doors and pretty much made me see where I wanted to start my career in athletics. Graduated from Montevallo with my bachelor's in kinesiology, and then I went on to the University of Alabama, Roll Tide, to get my master's in human environmental sciences, but the program was focused on sports business management. There, I was involved in a lot of things. I think I was interning at one point for the athletics department in Stillman College, which was just down the road. I was involved in UA marketing. So for Bama, I did marketing and game day operations for the basketball team, baseball, and football as well. And even during that time, the year and a half I was at Bama, I also volunteered as a women's basketball coach at Birmingham Southern College. So graduated with my master's, and maybe a month later, I relocated to Houston, Texas to be the compliance intern at Rice University. Long way from home. It was my first time being away from home, so very scary. But I was determined to get started in athletics. I was determined to make a name for myself. I was the compliance intern for maybe about 4 months, transitioned into the compliance assistant. So I actually started getting paid. Was at Rice University for close to a year, then I was presented the opportunity to be the assistant director of compliance for initial eligibility at Houston Baptist University. I was there for maybe 5 or 6 months, then COVID hit. I was furloughed, then by the grace of God, maybe a month or two later, I started as the compliance coordinator at Valparaiso University in Indiana. Spent maybe a year there in the cold, realized that I wasn't a fan of the snow. I was granted the opportunity to get back to the South and be the compliance coordinator at the University of Texas, San Antonio. Was in that role for maybe 4 months, and then I was promoted to director of compliance, which what I am now.
Yeah, that's great. Well, so okay, I have so many questions
Okay.
off already. Um, okay, so I want to go back to the you wanted to explore sports when you was younger, but your mom was saying no. Let's focus on doing this, doing that. Was it like, do you feel as though was it just because like it wasn't really that many women's sports at the time that you was growing up that she feels though that you could have a future in sports, or it was just one of those things like, yeah, I actually prefer to be better in the classroom than you are athletic.
Um, I think it was a little bit of everything. So
Yeah.
I'm the first woman in my family to get a bachelor's, I'm the first in my family to even get a master's. Thank you. So she pretty much wanted me to be the best I could. Honestly, early, college wasn't an ideal for me, but I know she knew that my academics was important. Yeah, like you can go do all these other extracurricular activities, but I'm going to raise you to be a smart, independent woman. And that was her whole mindset. I appreciate it now, but younger, I was so angry. Like all my friends, they're going to AAU camp and, still playing in sports. And I'm stuck in the summer at science camp, dissecting a cow's brain, But yeah, I definitely appreciate it. I understand now what she was trying to do.
Yeah, that's incredible. And also congrats for being the first, because that's hard. Just because like there's no one that you've seen do it before, but here you are creating your
Exactly.
own path to do that. So, oh man, shout out to moms. I know it was hard,
Yeah.
but like big kudos to you. Like I would clap if my microphone probably wouldn't, work right with that. But I'm serious. Like big kudos
Yeah.
for you, because
Thank you.
you stayed on course. You went through the hard struggles of being in camps versus being in summer camps with
Mhm.
friends. But in the end, it paid off. Look at you now. Like, well, masters. You got the bachelor's. Like, come on, you almost got everything. So big kudos to you.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
yeah. So okay. So at this point in time, so you had a job and then you got furloughed, and this is like what, prior to the pandemic. Or
It was during,
during the
so
pandemic. Okay.
yeah, so March, we were pretty much, our school was on spring break. And then that's when COVID hit. And they were instantly like, okay, everyone just work from home. I think we worked from home April, May, and at the end of May, I got the call where they were like, well, pretty much a couple people in the athletics department, we're just gonna furlough you. We're not firing you. We just want you. We just can't pay you right now. So, and we look to bring you back in September. And because I have, like, thank God, I've been blessed with some amazing bosses and
Mhm.
honest and genuine with me. Jacob Wonders at Houston Baptist, he told me, he was like, the T, we want you to come back and we definitely want you to wait because, you've been a great asset to us. But I encourage you to explore your opportunities because I can't guarantee that we'll all be back in the office in September. And I appreciate him for doing that. Like I said, by the grace of God, like in the genuine people I've met throughout my career, helped me to get into the role of compliance coordinator at Valparaiso University.
Wow. So what was it like starting a job in the midst of the pandemic from that time? Like you was riding a high, I could, you was riding a high and then furlough, and then here you are smack dab in Indiana starting something new in the midst of a pandemic. Talk to me about that experience.
Um, it was definitely challenging. I learned a lot of stuff. So me being in Houston, once I got my full-time job at Houston Baptist, I had just moved into my own apartment, just started a lease. So I had to figure out what was the steps or the process to getting, breaking a lease. I had to worry about because I didn't have a lot in my savings because, I just started my first full-time job. So I was trying to figure out like, will Valparaiso giving me moving expenses? Was I going to have enough money to break my lease? And a lot of moving companies weren't really helping anyone because it's during the pandemic, people are trying to stay safe. I'm trying to make sure I don't put my mom, because she wants to help me in everything I do. So she was trying to leave Alabama to come to Houston to help me relocate to Indiana. And I'm like, of course, mom, like, you're dealing with your own health issues, make sure you stay safe. But everything pretty much worked out because I trust God. I always trust his plan and he always comes through for me. So, but moving in a pandemic, it was challenging trying to figure out my finances, trying to just move to a different state with people I pretty much don't know. It was challenging, but I made it through. Like, I'm a hard person. I get through everything.
Hey man, look, I'm glad because obviously you made it through because look at where you're at now. You're the director, the director of the University of Texas San Antonio. So what was it like getting that opportunity?
I was shocked because, like I said, I was only here as the compliance coordinator for maybe 2-3 months before the assistant director of compliance left to take a higher position in another institution. So me coming in, I was like, okay, and Steve Louts, he's my boss, he's incredible. I pretty much went to him and I was like, okay, what's the game plan? Like, do I need to reach out to some of my mentors to see who we can hire for this assistant director position? Like, because I'm fixed on like, I know my role. I'm here to be your compliance coordinator. I'm here to help out. I didn't imagine him saying, no, like you're qualified. I can promote you up to director of compliance because you're ready for this. So that was shocking.
Yo,
I will say at first I didn't believe I was ready, but a couple months in a row, I kind of like got a hang of things. I'm kind of confident. So I believe that his decision was just a God thing.
yo, amen. That's crazy. Like, it's funny because other people always see stuff in you better than you can see yourself. And
Yeah, that's
I
pretty much
can.
been my entire life. Other people seeing what I can see.
But look. I'm gonna tell you, you're incredible and you're dope. So just know that. Know that. So if anything went, your takeaway for today's podcast is, you're incredible and you're dope.
I'm
Don't let
incredible
anyone
and I'm
else.
dope. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So wow. So that's incredible. So okay. So talk to us about what it means to be the director of compliance. Like, what does that mean for the audience?
Um, so it can mean a lot of different things at different institutions. So at the Power Five level, it could mean that I'm just focused on one bylaw or one area of compliance. And let me go back. So compliance is pretty much the feds, I guess, because that's our nickname here. We're the feds. But we just kind of make sure that we're helping our student athletes, our coaches, and pretty much the entire athletics department make sure they're in compliance with the NCAA bylaws. Um, and going back, so the SEC, the Power Five level, that's a different role for them. But at a Group of Five institution, it's pretty much where I am. And we only have 3 people. Well, now we only have 2 people. We're kind of understaffed, but we're working to get a full staff back. But there's the senior compliance director, who is my boss, Steve Louts, and then there's the director of compliance, who pretty much handles the day-to-day. So that's any interactions or any questions the coaches may have. I'm pretty much working to try to answer those for them. Any questions that the student athletes may have, I'm working, to help them to ensure that, the day-to-day, we're in compliance day to day. While my boss, he is on senior staff, so he's pretty much taking care of like bigger issues that I'm not qualified to take care of right now. So whether it's writing waivers, whether it's figuring out financial aid scholarships for our coaches, whether it's overseeing signing day, doing evaluations for our recruits when they come in on official visits. I wear a lot of hats. So it's a number of things, but it's pretty much being the number two to your boss to make sure that the day-to-day is taken care of, where my boss doesn't have to worry about, anything other than senior staff level issues, if that's clear. I think that's clear.
Yeah, no, that's crystal. That's crystal. Okay. So all right, okay. Before I even go back down into the compliance, like how did you find your passion, to do what you currently do?
I'll go back to undergrad. So actually, I'll go back to high school. So like I said, I didn't really have a plan. I didn't, before going to summer science camp, meeting other people of different backgrounds. I didn't see myself going to college. I just knew that I wanted to be independent and I wanted to be able to provide for myself. But going into the summer, going into my senior year, I had made my mind up. Like I saw my other friends, they're preparing for college. They knew what college they was going through. They knew what they had to make on the ACT. And I was like, wow, I got to get myself together. So I had planned to go into my senior year of high school and not play ball at all, not play volleyball, not play basketball. I went in, I told my coach, like, hey, I'm done. I need to focus on getting into college. Like, that's it. And it wasn't a week or week and a half didn't go by till I had my teachers, the people in the front office, our custodians, even the police officer saying, Hill, you're not playing ball. What's wrong with you? I was like, yeah, I just wanted to focus on college. Like, what's the big deal? And it's like, you can do both. So my senior year of high school is where I kind of, was open up to the idea of playing sports and getting a college education. And that opened the door for me to go to Lawson State, play volleyball and basketball. But it wasn't until maybe junior or senior year at Montevallo where, when I was interning with the compliance department, I saw a whole different world. Like on the front end, I just knew it was coaching. I knew you had a basketball team, we had games, blah, blah, blah. I didn't know what went on. I didn't know there was positions where you can be athletic administrator. So as an intern, Miss Dawn, she was our compliance person at Montevallo. She was also the SWA. She granted me the opportunity to go to this conference for student athletes. And it's pretty much, they had a panel of different women who worked in athletic administrators. So it was SWAs, it was ADs, it was compliance professionals, and a number of them. And out of all the women on that panel, one stood out to me because she was Black, because she owned the room. She had so much respect. And when she taught, like everyone was listening. And her name was Courtney Lovely. I think she's now the AD at, oh my gosh, my mind just went blank. She's now the AD at Palm Beach Atlantic University, sorry. But during that time, she was the SWA and I think Title IX Deputy Coordinator, but she was at a senior level position. She was on high in the leadership for athletics. And I was like, wow, that's what I want to do. I don't care what I need to do. I need to figure out, I need to talk to her. And so after the convention was over, I was able to catch up with her. She gave me her card and I had a number of questions like, how did you get to where you are now? Like, what do I need to do? Do I need to get another bachelor's? Do I need to go to grad school? Like, I was hungry because I saw the respect of her. Like, I saw the respect she had from everyone. I saw that, you're a Black woman, you have a voice and you're using it. It's like, oh, that's what I wanted. So that pretty much opened the door to me pursuing a career in college athletics.
Yeah, that's incredible. I'm really glad I got a chance to ask that question.
Yeah.
Uh, that's an incredible story. It takes sometimes like seeing someone that looks like you in
Mhm.
order to kind of open up the eyes and be like, yo, that can be me. So
Yeah.
shout out to those people that have already been there and like created the position, and
Mhm.
also big shout out to people that do it and like and owns it.
Yeah. And who
Um,
are willing to go back,
yeah,
younger, women or younger men like I was at one point.
absolutely. Do you still communicate with her?
Oh yes. Not as often as I did when I was going through the process of me applying for grad school or when I was interviewing for the job at Rice University, but every chance I get, I try to update her. I try to check in. She's the AD now, so her schedule is a little bit busier, so I can't I can't take up all her time right now. But yeah, I try to update her as much as I can.
Okay, that's awesome. Okay, so going back to compliance, 'cause I'm glad I asked that question. So going back to compliance, so what's okay? So the feds, right? So what's the one thing that like I would say like the most common rule that's broken that you have to kind of watch out for? Is that like your first go to go, all right, let's see, make sure people at least following these before you start, looking through the fine tooth for things.
I think it would pretty much, as of right now, it would be recruiting. So there's a certain once a recruitable kid is in high school or reach a certain grade, that's when certain sports can reach out to them. And so when they send me a transcript for evaluation, I have to make sure, I'm for trying to figure out what grade they're in. I also have to monitor social media for our coaches because as of right now, you can't comment on a kid's tweet or post until they actually sign with the institution. And sign, I mean like sign a financial aid agreement or a national letter of content. Once they sign that, then it's free game, you can pretty much tweet, call them, things of that nature. But as of now, before that, I have to monitor and make sure they're only liking tweets. They're not, commenting on their posts and things of that nature. So we get the nickname the feds because it's pretty much, they say we're stalking their accounts. But yeah, I think that's the pretty common one, like social media interactions with prospects. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. I did not know that. They can't comment at all. They can't even say, "Hey, sorry for your loss." Like they can't do none of that.
Like, no, it's just liking. Now, I will say we have a period where they can call and they can pretty much text. And even now, they have it's the modernization where the whole manual or the NCAA legislation is kind of like, they're voting on new things. They're trying to do a realignment, things of that nature. But as of right now, you can do a group chat with your recruits, where beforehand you can even put them all in one group chat. So like I said, they're modernizing the rules, trying to adapt to the new world that we have of social media and the new communications.
Wow. But I'm still tripping. Like, yo, they can't even say like something simple, like on a conversational base.
Yeah,
Just
and then what's killing is like once a student athlete or a prospect, sorry, once a prospect signs to another institution or commit, and commit means sign. Like if you verbal commit, it really doesn't mean anything until you sign on the dotted line. But after they commit to another institution, the coach, no matter how great of a relationship you created with that student athlete, if they commit to a 4 year, you have to cut off the communication. You no longer can recruit them. And you can't start back communicating with them until they enter the transfer portal. And that's at a 4 year.
oh my. Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot behind it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I think my next question I want to ask. So, oh man. Okay. I'm gonna come back to that. What's something that
Okay.
what's a rule that that you look at and be like, man, I wish I don't have to enforce this, but you know, a rule is a rule. I have to enforce this. If
Um,
there's one that's out there that's like that.
mm, it's so many, honestly. But I think
Mm.
it's the one that I was just talking about. Like once doing the recruiting process, like a student athlete or a prospect, they make these relationships with these coaches, and the coaches who are genuinely trying to recruit that kid, they make these relationships where, you know, you want to mentor the kid, you want to be invested in their life to make sure that they stay on the right track, you know, and continue to, you know, be great and evolve as a student athlete and as a person. And so monitoring, making sure they're not communicating with these kids after they sign to another institution is one that I hate to enforce, because I know how I am with my relationships. And once you become my friend, once you become my mentor, it's like you're a part of my life forever. And I'm a big part of like checking in on people. And it hurts me that, you know, some of the coaches, like our women's basketball coach, she's genuine. Even our football coach, Coach Traylor, he's very genuine with the kids that we recruit. And to say, okay, hey, coach, I know they didn't sign with other school now. I know you have a good relationship with them, but we can't communicate with them unless they're going to enter this portal or get a full release from their NLI.
Yo, okay, so speaking of NIL, how has that impacted your job?
I would say it's brought on a lot of work. I think for bigger institutions like Power Fives, they have these third parties that they work with. They're allowed the opportunity to hire a third person to be strictly for the name, image, and likeness piece. But as a mid-major, we pretty much have to monitor when the student athletes are getting these deals. And it's hard because you think, in the beginning, they have to sign all these forms, and we're already in their business about where they're living, if they have a car on campus, you know, just things of that nature. And for them to now have to submit all deals, all documentations to us when they're starting to earn money, it's kind of difficult. And we still have that extra benefit piece in the manual where, as a student athlete, just because you're a student athlete doesn't mean you can't receive discounts, you can't receive merchandise for free and things of that nature. So if the kid don't report that, hey, I got an NIL deal with this local restaurant where I can get a free meal, I can get a discount, you know, anytime I come in, as long as I promote their business. If that student athlete doesn't report that to compliance, or we don't have an NIL disclosure form on file, like it can potentially be a violation because we don't know about this deal. For us not knowing and it's not being on file, it just looks like they're just giving you extra benefit because you're a student athlete. So yeah, it can become very difficult in trying to monitor everything and monitor that, and on top of what we have to monitor throughout the day.
Yeah, that it just sounds like a lot, and I just know because like the NIL was like it just drops and it is not it's new, so there's no history to try to figure out what to do and what not to do. You're
Yep.
like it's like you're crawling right now. You're just like, all right,
Yes.
is this okay? I
It's
think
a
this
ton
is
of
okay.
questions.
Yeah.
It's a ton of questions we ask to our conference, to the NCAA, even to other institutions that's within the state, because you have to remember too, there are, the NCAA doesn't really have like legislation on it, but you have to turn to your particular state and see where their laws is for the NIL. And so if the state of Alabama is doing certain things with their athlete, if the state of Alabama can say, okay, their student athletes can have deals where they're posing in their uniform, they're using the Alabama symbol, like if they can do that, the state of Texas, we can't do that. So our kids at UTSA, they can have all the deals they want and they can take pictures in our colors, but they can't take pictures using our trademark, our UTSA, and being in the background. They can't take pictures in their UTSA uniform. So it varies. So there's a lot that I think needs to be discussed. But I believe like everything gets better. Anytime something new comes out, there's always gonna be like trial and error. But I believe it'll continue to get better, especially for the student athlete's sake.
Yeah, I definitely hope so because I mean, I'm all for the athletes being able to make some type of money while they're in college because we
Mhm.
all know how difficult it is being a college student, especially being a college athlete student,
Most
because you don't really
definitely.
get, yeah, because you don't get the time, you don't get the chance to work, and this is your practice school, and then you sleeping or working out
Yeah.
so you can be good at your sport. So,
Yeah.
you know, I, I hope that they get their paper, in the in the right way, I should say,
Yeah.
um, so how is it, interacting with agents, like having to handle, be the kind of mediator between the athletes and agent?
Um, I had my first glimpse of that when I came here to UTSA. So my boss, Steve Louds, he's pretty much oversees that part as far as like agent interaction with our student athletes. And he pretty much communicates with our coaches about, if our student athlete, once is communicating with the agent or anything of that nature. So I'm not really, I really don't have like experience with that. The only thing I've pretty much had hands-on with doing is, preparing or organizing an agent day for the student athletes here, or our football senior student athletes. And that's pretty much something they did yearly, where you contact the agents in Texas, and they pretty much has to be registered, and you contact them and you set up time like, hey, we're going to have agent day. If you want to reach out to any particular senior on our football team, just let me know which ones and we can set that up for you. Anything outside of that, I don't believe we can pretty much um, organize any communication with the agent. Now, if an agent just want to reach out to a student athlete or a student athlete wants to reach out to an agent, having that conversation is perfectly fine so long as the student athlete doesn't sign any a commitment with that agent during their time as a student athlete, or they don't verbally agree to say, hey, yeah, after I graduate, I'm gonna definitely sign with you. I want you to be my agent. Or as long as the student athlete or their family don't receive any benefits from that agent during that time, because then that can potentially be cause for them to lose their eligibility status.
Okay, makes sense, makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's a lot.
it is a lot, but you know it though, it's like
I'm
it's so,
learning.
yeah. No, it's all good. So okay, so one thing that you talked about mentioning in one of the earlier questions that we talked about was like the verbal commitments from, a high school athlete going into college, the verbal and signed commitments and people decommitting. So when someone signs that commitment, it's official, they have to attend that university,
Yeah,
or
if
can
it's a, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I'm saying, could they decommit? I mean, I'm pretty sure you already knew what I was going to say next.
Yeah, no, it's a process. So, like I was saying, so for instance, um, if your institution has the NLID, National Letter of Content, and so the national level letter of content can only be issued with a financial aid agreement, which is pretty much the athletic scholarship. So once the student athlete signs both, that means they are committed to that institution for one full academic year, which means that can be 2 full semesters, like fall and spring, or if it's a quarter school, it has to be 3 quarters. Um, they have the opportunity to get released, and there's a process for them to be released from their NLI before they even enroll. So if they get the full granted release, they just have to pretty much request it through the NLI website like that. And then an alert or email will be sent to the institution that they sign with. And the institution has 30 days to respond. They can either sign or they can either deny them permission to decommit or be released. If they have a full release, then it will then update to the eligibility center, and then the other schools will see that, hey, this kid is decommitted, they have full release, and they're good to go to start back recruiting again. If they do not ask to be released, then the kid, and I'm sorry, if they do not be released and the institution denies the kid to be complete release from that institution, wherever that student athlete enrolls at a 4-year, they have to have a year residency where they can't compete until they fulfill that 1 year of not competing, if that makes sense. Did I explain that?
Yeah, I think you did. But
Okay.
yeah, that's okay. Like you said, it's a lot to everything.
It
Like
is,
there's
but yeah, but pretty much once a kid sign, they have to go to the institution that they sign and have to be there for a full year. And if they want to leave, they'll enter the portal. And once they're in the portal, that's when a coach can actually communicate with that kid.
okay. I'm trying to take notes here, but it's really good stuff because a lot of people just don't know, and thank you for sharing everything thus far.
Like I said, I'm still learning a lot, but it's fun. It's like I go to my job, and I'm still allowed to interact with student athletes daily. I'm still allowed to be around the sports that I grew up loving. And it's not like a boring job at all. Like I come to work and it's something new to tackle or learn each and every day. Sometimes, yes, it can be overwhelming, but at the same time, if I didn't love or have a passion for what I do, then I couldn't be great at my job.
Respect. Okay, so speaking of learning things now, what's some things that you wish you knew when you were in like earlier in your career that you know now?
I don't think I would have did anything differently. I think I probably would have just trusted God's plan and just believe in the abilities He's given me, because that would have saved me so much stress and worry over the time. Because, like I said, like going into being able to get my master's, and during that time, I was doing so many things trying to figure out which avenue I wanted to take to start my career in athletics. I think if I would have had just been more confident, I would have worried and struggled less. There would have been a lot less nights of tears. So yeah, I would have just did a better job of trusting God and just believing in the abilities that He had given me.
Amen. So this leads to my next question was, how has your faith impacted your career and lead you to where you are right now?
Um, a number of times. So there have been times where I wanted to stop playing sports, but God, some kind of way, God brought me back to it. Also with the leap of faith I've been taking. So with me starting grad school, I've never been a one that actually like wanted to, I guess, network or bother anyone with the million questions that I always have. But our professors at Bama, they encouraged us to reach out to different individuals in the positions that we potentially wanted to be in once we started our career. And I reached out to, it was just being bold enough to send those emails to Jesse Gardner. Like Jesse Gardner, Tiffany Grimes, like they didn't know me. They didn't have to help me because I wasn't a student athlete at Bama. Like I was just a regular student who was, trying to take classes and get their degree. But they took the time to meet with me. Like I said, Jesse Gardner, she was in student athlete development. She was head of student athlete development at the time. And she was able to just bring me in, let me ask her questions about her day to day. She let me come in and volunteer for her student athlete development events that she had. Miss Tiffany Grimes, like I believe she was the SWA at the time when I was at grad school there. She took one, she met me one time. And I explained to her what I want to do. I explained her background. Like I was nervous as all get out because the way she carried herself. And she was serious, and she's always been serious, and she was just dope and a boss in her role. And I wanted to get to that level, but just being able to, speak with her, she saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And she was just like, after one meeting, she was like, okay, I'm gonna help you. We're gonna do this. She pushed me to, like, prepare my resume, to figure out what I wanted to do, what state I wanted to live in after graduating. I had to give her a list of schools that, I thought I could work at. And we pretty much went through that list, got me a interview with Torian Houston at Rice University. He is still one of my best bosses ever. Like, the guy is great. But if I didn't take those leap of faith, just reaching out to them, or even when I took the opportunity at Rice University, I hadn't even, so my cousin and his wife moved to Houston like maybe a year prior. When I took the opportunity, I hadn't even asked them if I could stay with them. I had already just took that. I was like, I'll be there January, blah, blah, graduating in December. I'll be there next month. I didn't ask them, could I stay with them, until maybe like finally got the courage to, like, okay, hey, I got a job there. I got money to buy an apartment, but can I just stay with you? So yeah, it was just me taking a leap of faith, and pretty much God catching me, because I was out of my mind.
Yeah, that's funny. I'm like, I would have got the phone call like, I didn't even ask. I just kind of told them I'm coming to
Yep.
make room.
Yep.
Oh, okay, okay. Um, so now being where you are right now,
Mhm.
what advice would you give to other women, especially Black women, and that's trying to work in the sports profession?
Um, just to believe in yourself, and don't compare yourself to your peers, your mentors, because there's a lot of opportunities in this industry. There's a lot of people competing for the same positions, and I would just tell them to be true to yourself. It doesn't matter your background, it doesn't matter your education, your experience, as long as you have confidence in your abilities and actually take those opportunities, you'll be just fine. I wish I would have known that, when I was growing up, or even when I first started out. um, I was just really scared to do a lot of things, just because I didn't have, people in my family that could tell me the right steps to take in order to become a professional. And I would just encourage anyone, woman of color, any woman, just any person, always believe in yourself, and don't say, no, I can't do something just because, I don't have any experience, or, I can't see myself doing that. No, you're good. You can do it. Just believe in yourself.
You're preaching right now.
So I have to tell myself that every day. Like I said, I'm still learning. I think this is like year 3, year 4 for me. And I have so many things to learn, but I'm grateful for all my mentors and everyone that's, helped me along the way, or just took 5 minutes to learn my name. So great.
Yeah, I think it took me at least 10. So, hey. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and transition into our rapid round. So this is the segment which we call the game within a game. So my first question for you is, are you ready to play?
I'm ready.
Okay. So here we go. All right. So chocolate chip cookies, oatmeal raisin, sugar cookies, oatmeal chocolate chip, or snickerdoodle.
That's easy. Sugar cookie all the way.
Sugar cookie.
Yes.
Ooh. I think you are the first person that came on this podcast and say sugar cookie.
I love sugar cookies, especially the ones they have at Walmart with the icing on top.
Yes. Oh, okay. Yeah. That's my kryptonite, you know.
Exactly. A lot of my friends don't like it. Like, I'll eat a whole box, which is sad, but yeah.
You're not alone. I'll do the same thing. And it's so sad because it was somebody's retirement at my job. And so they had like the sugar cube with icing on them, and had like 2 boxes of them. I took one of the box. I just set it at my desk. I just, I felt so bad because they looked at it. It was like, why is this over here? I'm like, don't worry about
Mind
it.
your business. Mind your business.
Yeah, don't worry about it. You want some? I can give you one, but the rest of mine, yeah, that's how that went. Um, TV shows and movies.
TV shows.
Ooh, what's your favorite TV show right now?
Grey's Anatomy.
Okay, I respect that. I mean, that's a longevity show, you know.
It is. And I swear, like pretty much every summer, I can restart it from season one and just go binge watch all of them. I think they have like 17, 18 seasons now. I love
Hmm. What is there any TV show you're watching right now that you like the most?
I've started Power, which is like I know everyone been on Power since the first season, but I've just started back watching, and then I'm gonna transition over into I think it's Ghost. Yeah, so I'm trying to catch
Yeah.
over.
Okay, so look, don't feel bad. So here's my confession. All right. So I've watched like the last 2, 3 seasons of Power, like up
Mhm,
until it broke off into different like different chapters or different books, I should say. And
mhm.
then I watched all the books, but I never watched like the first 3 seasons of Power. So it's on my things to do. If I'm
Yeah,
looking for a TV show to watch, just go ahead and start watching and start doing that. But right now, what got my attention right now is Bel Air. That show has my attention.
I need to start that. I think it like so many of my friends like on Facebook and Twitter, like they're talking about it. I'm like, okay, I need to make time to start it.
Yes,
They say it's so good.
yes, it is. I'm really impressed. And, most reboots or remasters, whatever you want to label it, it's like,
Mhm.
this boy, yeah, this is real good.
Yeah. They said once you get over that it's not really a comedy, then you can really understand and get into it.
Yeah, it's for me, it's it's the realness of it.
Mhm.
It's really something that's for the most part, I think it's an all black cast. So
Mhm.
on top of that, is that like it's really a show that's for I said for the culture, and it's really really good right now.
Yeah, we have a lot of those now, even with the one with Megan Good in it. Oh, what's the name of it? Harlem.
Okay,
Yeah, that was pretty good. I saw that last month. That was a pretty good one for the culture.
yeah, I need that's another show I have to follow up on. So there's a lot of TV shows. So,
Right.
okay, so next it is so if you can go pro in any sport, what would it be?
If I can go pro football, like I know
Really?
play football. Growing up, like I said, I was always involved in sports. And I was pretty much a tomboy. Like I play with my cousins, the guys, my friends from school. Like I would play football, flag football. It didn't matter. So if I had the opportunity to go pro, it would be football. I put on the pads and be out there ready.
Let's go. What position would you play?
I want to be quarterback because I want
Okay.
to make decisions.
Because you said what?
I want to make the decisions. I want to decide who can get.
Okay.
I like making decisions. I like being the boss.
Okay. Look, I ain't mad at you. Go ahead. Shoot. Go ahead. Okay. Um, do you have a favorite sports moment that you've either seen or witnessed?
Yeah, currently right now. So at UTSA, we recently won the championship, our conference championship, I'm sorry, with Conference USA. And seeing our kids, the guys that I work with every single day, whether if they have questions about school, life, like anything, just seeing the reaction of their faces, just being like on the sideline with them when that time went out and everyone just running on the field, like that was amazing. That is the greatest sports moment right now that's left in my heart because Like my student athletes, they are like my little kids. Like, and it's crazy because I'm so close in age with them. I think I'm like maybe 5-6 years older than them. They can be my little brother or sister, but I have so many great relationships with them, and seeing them happy and succeed, like that's just icing on the cake. That's the reason I come in here and probably stress some days doing my job. So
It always means so much more when it's the people closest to you that you see succeed, you know.
exactly, and they
It just
appreciate it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like we'll go to their, like when I come out to their practice, like they really appreciate somebody being there supporting them. So that's good.
That's right. Okay. Favorite pair of shoes. Now the shoes could be anything. It could be shoes, it could be heels, it could be flip flops, you know. What's your favorite?
Um, it'll have to be heels. So I love wearing heels. I have them in all colors. Um, yeah, that was it. I will wear them. I don't wear them a lot to work because I have to walk cross campus. And so I end up having to throw them under my desk and put on my Birkenstocks. But heels, I don't care how much they cost. And that's that's bad. But I love heels. I love a good pair of heels, some pumps.
Okay. I was like, what brand?
I don't have a brand. And
Okay.
I shop at DSW. I shop at Shoe Dazzle. Yeah, those are my two now, Shoe Dazzle and DSW.
Okay. Okay.
I'll wear them.
Okay. If you could take over any organization, which organization you would you choose? This organization can be anything. It could be Chase Bank. It could be an amusement park. It could be, Red Cross Blue Shield. It could be anything.
That's a hard one. I would take over the NFL. Yeah, most definitely.
Ooh.
And if I had to choose a team, it would be the Cowboys because I'm in love with Texas right now. I got relocated. It was the first state I relocated to when I actually officially left home as an adult. And if I could live in Texas and pursue the goals that I have that I want to pursue in my career, I would hope and pray that it will be in the state of Texas. So yeah, the Cowboys, I would take over that. I'll rebrand everything. I'll probably hire new coaches. But yeah.
Dang, she said, all right, Jerry's move out the way. Roger Goodell, you got to go. It's my league now. I run
Yeah.
this. I make the decisions. That's what she said. She said, I like making
Exactly.
decisions. I'm making the decisions out here.
Exactly.
Oh, but the Cowboys though, we was doing so good until you said the Cowboys.
But I'm a Texas woman now. So yeah.
Look, so my one of my close friends, his name is Tony. He's a big Cowboys fan, and also my brother's wife is a Cowboys fan. He lives in the Dallas, Texas area, so it's like go Cowboys for her at least. So
Mhm.
I mean, I don't understand why they get labeled the America's team. Man, that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. We was doing so good till he said the Cowboys. All right. Anyways, no, I'm just playing. But Tiana, I got one final question. It's the hardest question of them all.
Ooh.
Where can people follow you at and keep up with your career and keep up with everything you got going on?
You can find me on LinkedIn. I actually have to go to my phone to see my Twitter handle. You can follow me on Twitter at Thill, that's THILL _44. 44 is the number I had at Montevallo when I was playing women's basketball. You can also find me on Instagram. I have to go look for that. It's the same thing as Thill, but it's 2 underscores. So Thill __44.
Ladies and gentlemen, y'all heard it here first. Go ahead, give Miss Hill a follow. For everyone else, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. You can always find us on your favorite social media platform, whether it be Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. It's CTG_podcast. You can also find us on YouTube at Capture the Game Podcast. And we're also on your favorite podcast platform, whether it be Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, whatever it may keep, whatever your main go-to for podcast is. I can't talk right now. Main go-to for podcast right now. You can go ahead and find us on there. T, it's been a pleasure and an honor to get a chance to know you and get a chance to talk with you. Best of luck with your career going forward. I know you got goals. You want to state your goals before and close them out?
One day I'm going to be the athletic director of a D1 or D2 institution. Just watch out.
Drops the mic. Ends the episode right there. Yes. Let's go. Watch out, world. She's coming to take over.
No, thank you so much, though, for having me and giving me the opportunity to speak and just share my background with everyone. I appreciate it.
There's no problem.